Hello and welcome to Chapter 4 of my two-part video series, A Beginner's Guide at Becoming a Team Player. I'm your host, HM3 Miller, and in this chapter we will be covering TCONs, what they are and why we use them, as well as how they directly apply to ePHAs. So without further ado, let's begin. Chapter 4, TCONs and ePHAs. What is a TCON? A TCON is short for telephone consultation. And why are they used? Well, entry into the electronic health record is key, and when a scheduled appointment is not necessary or not appropriate, we use TCONs for this purpose. It also serves the purpose as a reminder for the provider, whether that's for medication refills, referrals, or in this case, it's for ePHA entry. ePHAs I break down into five easy step process. Step 1 is verify the online portion. So you should be in direct contact with your Marines. You need to elicit the use of this website, which is HTTPS data. You can see it on the screen. And if that's too much for them to remember, you just Google search with Navy plus PHA plus online. It should be the first link there, and you should recognize it with the data as being the first entry in the URL. This step is completely hands-off, and it can be done completely by the person that needs the PHA. Next, you're going to create this encounter within roughly 6 months if nothing has changed medically. Otherwise, anything longer than that, you're going to want to create a new PHA for them. Say they did their PHA on the online portion like 12 months ago, 9 months ago, even 6 months is rather long. You would consider telling them that they need to make a new PHA entry just so everything is up to date and at its most current state. Next, you're going to tell them that most importantly is that you got to save. This is because many times Marines will come to the AMCC and they said they completed the online portion, which is true. The only thing is they forgot to save. They forgot to scroll all the way down to the bottom, hit the green button that says finish or save. Well, so be it. And then if that happens, they didn't do that, then of course they got to do that over again. All this in step 1 is done completely before the patient steps foot into the AMCC or medical treatment or military treatment facility. So double check before they even step foot there that they have this completed. It'll save a lot of time. Next, step 2 is the face-to-face with the corpsman at the AMCC or the MTF. What you're going to want to do is meet them out in the lobby and escort them back to a patient room, and while you're on the way, stop at the records room grabbing their health record. This is because in their health record they should have a 2766 as displayed on screen, and you will notice that there's columns here for counseling completed. It has date, age, and topic. These are where you're going to be entering the first parts of your data. First, you're going to want to get a good set of vitals on the patient, and you're going to record that on the second page of the 2766. You're going to go weight here, height, blood pressure. That's pretty much it for the vitals. Pretty easy. Don't forget to put the date and age up top. One thing to keep in mind is the height here. While you can do it in inches, it's not. You can also do it in just feet and inches separately. This is because when you get to the record reviewer portion of this process, the record reviewer does not go by inches. So sometimes I'll be in the middle of a ePHA and have to do that quick conversion, but it's easier, hey, you're 5'9", you can just enter at 5'9" there. Also, you're going to counsel your Marines, so this is where the first page of this 2766 comes in handy. The date, the age, and then topic is these topic codes here, which we go over: fitness, dental, injury prevention, nutrition. Play it safe. You can counsel them on all the above. if they have any questions about any of this, you lead them to the right direction, whether that's, Chaplain, MFLAC, all the resources that we have covered in previous. So tobacco, you let them know, hey, are you interested in quitting tobacco? It's a healthy choice, and we have tobacco cessation programs that you can become a part of through the medical. Same with alcohol. We have all the links, the resources available. Let the Marines know what's available to them, as well as what pertains mostly to their job, right? Family planning, maybe they're not married or have dependents, just you can omit that one. Just on the topic, just whatever topics you covered, list in the topic box here. Each of these rows of date, age, and topics refers to a single PHA entry. So if this is a blank 2766, which it is me, whoever counseled me would record everything primarily in this first box here with room to go to the right. And then any subsequent PHAs after that would go below. So it is possible that you open up somebody's health record and you will see you'll see previous entries from a previous PHA. You just go one below that, you put the new date, they're probably 1 year older by then, and then the topics covered in this box. That covers counselings. Also for vitals, it's not really a vital, but it's a test, is visual acuity, which goes in the eye and the vision chart right here, or in this box. And that's going to be a quick, is it Farnsworth Lantern? I can't even remember, but it's the visual acuity test, which has all the random letters. You're going to get them at the appropriate distance from that chart, which I believe is 14 feet, if I remember right. And they're going to stand behind the line. You're going to test left eye acuity, right eye acuity, as well as both eyes at the same time. And you're going to record your findings in here. And for that, you're going to use the designators. For like right eye, it's going to be OD. And for left eye, it's OS, and for both of them, it's OU. I remember those, like D is for I remember it as dominant, so most people are like right eye dominant, so that's going to be right eye. S, I think, is like sinister, so back in the day, like left-handed people were considered sinister or something, so that's how I remember it. And then OU is like union, or both of them at the same time. You're going to find your recordings, record them 2020, 2025, whatever it may be. The important part about this is if the member does wear corrective lenses, make sure that member has those prescribed lenses on him at that time, because he will need them for this test. Some of the Marines will show up without that, and it's on you to get those, to let them know ahead of time, hey, make sure you bring your glasses. Also, it's recommended that they do not wear contacts for this, that they are wearing their prescribed lenses for this. Under family history is this box right above this that I'm circling here. We have family history, mother, father, they're close family, right? Maternal grandmother, father, and they have all the codes listed up here. MGM, maternal grandmother. So if they had cancer, you'd write, MGM, breast cancer, or say their father had a heart attack, you could be F equals hypertension or heart failure, heart disease, you name it, it goes in here. If this is a 2766 that has had previous use on prior PHAs, you will probably see this box filled in if they had anything. And you're going to verify with them, hey, is this the same? Has anything changed since then? Make any corrective changes on that to add, say their mom was diagnosed with diabetes within the last year, you would change that in there. Just go over that with them. It's super easy. Also, I have here written drug allergies. Right under, or the first thing you'll see on the 2766 is medication allergies, as well as other allergies. For this, you can either put what they have, the medication allergies to it, or if they have any bees or linen or something, I don't know, something random, but you could put NKDA for this for a lot of people with no allergies, NKA and the A in this one. Make sure you fill that out, as well as chronic illnesses, medications that they are currently on, which includes over-the-counters or supplements, yeah, you name it. Hospitalizations and surgeries, pretty standard. Just give like a date where they were admitted to and what for, as well as any surgeries, whether that be a tonsillectomy, appendectomy, you name it. A lot of this pertains to whether they tolerate anesthesia or not. That's good information to know. So also at this time, you're going to inquire about any non-deployment related health concerns. Most of the deployment health concerns are directly tied to the deployment health assessment, the pre-DHA or the PDHA or the PDHRA, and that's the avenue for these Marines and sailors to voice their concerns of certain exposures that they were exposed to while in deployment. The PHA is more of like a garrison use, but really just do your best. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section. All right, next slide here we have the step 3. So we went over step 1, online portion, step 2, 2766, and the face-to-face. Step 3 here is going to be the online reviewer entry. And for this, you're going to need to gain access to the electronic PHA reviewer access. And that's done through a SAR form, as well as probably cyber awareness or all the above. I don't know. I just have it. I'm good. That's all I care about. So for this one, if we go back a few slides here, you notice that this My PHA is where most people click to do their PHA entry. To the right of it, you have Record Reviewer, which when you go onto Record Reviewer, like I said, it's the same website, okay? The same website that they do their PHI on, you're going to do the Record Reviewer steps on. So you're going to press Record Reviewer, and that's going to take you to this screen here. Here you have two options. You have DoD ID, EDIPI, or Social Security number. For these, you're going to enter the whole DoD ID, the full Social Security, whatever. You can do either one. One troubleshooting step that I've encountered is some people we're not able to find them under DoD ID or SSN. So and they're only listed for one of the two. Most people are listed for both, but for some reason some only show up as one. So if one doesn't work, do the other. So DoD doesn't work, try SSN, and hopefully you get that. Otherwise, they have some other troubleshooting steps, which is more related to the website. Also, if you need the SAR form, pick that up on this website as well. It should be like a link at the bottom or on the entry screen. So once you've entered their DoD ID number, I've used this member who I've blotted out all PII from, HIPAA, you know. So got it. The service information pops up on this screen right here. Their ID number, social, first name, all that you can read. And this is the important part, the latest assessment right here. This is going to be the date that they did it on. So going off of that 6-month rule, and really I would encourage more like within a month typically, maybe within like 2 months, as long as nothing's changed. So you'll see a check mark here indicating that they have completed their portion of it, and you are clear to go into Record Reviewer. If they have not done this, this will be blank, and Record Reviewer won't even be accessible. So off this, you're going to go Latest Assessment and click Record Reviewer, which is the next blank circle here. You're going to hit that. That is going to take you to screen 1 of the Record Reviewer, and page 1 and 2 is demographics, which is the Record Reviewer information. At this point, you're going to confirm all your credentials. You can see me here, Miller, Eric James, yep, Navy, cool, active duty, probably E4, whatever. Just make sure it's all good. If not, change it and move on. Once you get through the demographics, page 1, page 2, you get to the medical screening portion. Here's where you're going to do all the vitals that you entered. So like I said, here we got feet and inches for height. So enter 5'7" for this individual. And then you're always going to have to enter the date that you took it on. Also, the number one here is date of service member's most recent PHA, outside of the one that you're doing on them currently. Obviously, that wouldn't make sense, right? So you're gonna, this member's last PHA, I put as August 1st, 2018, for example. Okay. Next, the weight, blood pressure, which comes from the BP machines after you've done the vitals, and all this can be done reading off the 2766 you did in part 2. All right, once you get through all that, we go to occupational, family, lifestyle stuff. Okay, so for here we have what I said before about their family history, the 2766. You're going to start seeing this in orange is what they answered when they completed their online portion. They said, hey, I don't know about my brothers, sisters, which is perfectly fine. If that is reflected in their physical 2766, you say, yes, that reflects. He doesn't, it's put on the actual physical 2766. Yes. If no, it'll prompt you to say, like, was this updated, or like, you know, easy walkthrough. You shouldn't have any problems with this. All these orange fields are required. This is where MRRS is needed. Okay. You're going to need to go on MRRS, get their IMR, look at their deployment tab in MRRS or their IMR, and see if they're deficient on any of these deployment health related assessments. This one, you know, the first one, PDHA, post-deployment health reassessment. If they've completed it for their last deployment, cool, completed. If not, you can still do the PHA and continue. You just mark it, hey, this is due but it's not complete, or not completed but not due, it's coming up, sort of thing. When was service member most recently documented for dental exam? Like I said, this comes off of MRRS directly, typically off the IMR, which can be provided to you through your sick call supervisor, or as well as anybody with MRRS access. Really, it's easy to find. You just go dental class 2 on this date, or class 4 or whatever. Just make a note that they will need to go to dental, and that's coming up. I'll show you where to put that. Is a service member current on all required EMS? Go to the EMS tab, find the EMS. If they are not up to date, inquire about how you can get them up to date. Just be careful, because some of those might require titers, which is a whole nother beast, in which I would advise you talk to your sick call supervisor to arrange a titers draw, and then follow on care after that, all while verifying the DD 2766 accuracy. Okay, next slide here. All right, so this is the most hands-on part you'll get with this. Most of this is just mindless clicking. This is where you type your little comment in. This is the very last before you completely finish the step 4. Where is this? Yeah, step 4. Okay, so on this note portion here, you provide any additional comments about this record review. Mainly, it's a summary, almost like an entry, like you would in a SOAP note, of what that person came in for and anything that arose from the assessment or through this. In this case, I've created like kind of a default statement for anybody that's like, hey, I'm good. Probably most of your guys will say this, but don't count on it. So for that, I just said, hey, 25-year-old active duty male reports to AMCC for annual PHA. Patient arrives well developed, well nourished, and fit for full duty. Vital signs stable. No additional medical concerns at this time. And that should suffice. And you'll click the green button, click here to go to review. Any variations here would be any variations off of what is normal here, which is the above statement. Things like, hey, maybe he's not fit for full duty. He's light limited duty times 30 days, or has been referred to, you found on MRRS he needs to complete an audiogram. So patient has been referred to audiology to comply with hearing conservation program. Or maybe he does have medical inquiries, which shouldn't be too big of an entry for you, because most of that is handled on the provider level, since you'll present that to sick call soup presents that to the IDC or the MO. But you can write, you know, as you state, patient inquires about prescription for Claritin or something, You can see up here, patient requests to be seen for right ankle pain times 3 weeks, because every patient that goes through this PHA process has the ability to request appointment for a medical appointment for whatever that may be. We'll see it all. Mostly it's probably going to be musculoskeletal shit and all right, so review and complete, done. All right, ePHAs. So this is the step 4 part of the ePHA process, which is the TCON entry. So what you're going to do, let's go back all the way to this slide here. You're going to see TCON I have highlighted in blue. This is off of AHLTA. Make sure you click TCON, and up at the top, you're going to press New Telecon right here. Might not look like this. Everybody's ribbon banner here looks different, I've noticed. So this is like the default New Telecon, or you can right click it, New TCON. The thing is, if you go New TCON, it'll automatically default to whoever you have. I have no one right here, but if say you did have a previous encounter that you were looking at, it'll automatically default to that person, and it'll ask you, hey, do you want this person that you have pulled up? And you're going to say most likely no, unless that is the person. But just be wary of that. If it isn't, you say no, and then you'll go to the it'll prompt the box where you can look up their EDI/PI or social and get the right person that you want. So I pulled up a TCON on myself here just for an example. This is what it looks like when you hit New TCON and you get your patient you want. This is the patient up here, Miller Eric, that's me. The only problem is I'm doing this on myself here, so assigned owner, which is considered the provider, who this TCON doesn't get complete, like none of your AHLTA nodes get completed by you. You're not a provider. Unless you are, but no, you're not a provider. So assigned owner goes to the provider to complete it. So the default, I have this slide up here to specifically show you the most crucial element of setting up the TCON, which is making sure that you take assigned owner, which will default to your name, my name. It'll default to your name and assign it to you, the TCON. Never even reaching the provider. The provider won't even know that you even wrote this TCON, which you're gonna hit the triangle here, find the provider you want. In this case, this is the provider I want to receive the TCON and complete it. That's the most important part, because I mean, it's really hard to double check that stuff. Like the provider won't know, the sick call supervisor won't know, only you'll know, and you'll probably end up getting an email from one of the nursing staff saying, hey, you got expired TCONs or TCONs that are incomplete. And if you've done a lot of them, like, man, you're gonna be like, hey, you got like 50 unclosed appointments that you need to resolve. So make sure you get this to the right provider for those reasons. It defaults to medium. You're going to take urgency down to low. It's just a PHA, no reason to trip any alarms. For reason for telephone consult, you're going to include PHA in here. And for comments, I typically just put the company that it's assigned to, the patient is assigned to. You can put whatever you want. All right. Once you hit OK, it'll take you to this screen, which is the actual TCON itself. So let's navigate through here. This is what it looks like defaulted, okay? You'll notice it's completely blank, and you're going to have to know what to press for this. All right, starting off with, you're going to fill in the boxes on the right-hand margin. If you notice, these boxes here with PCM, PRN, or as needed, in clinic, and all these boxes down here are blank. You're going to need to fill those in, okay? So with primary care manager, as needed, in clinic boxes, there's 3 of them. And then for this one, all these are selected. I just go all items discussed, click, check. Everything's good here. Here we have the provider. Just double check that you didn't skip that part out we were talking about and that it's the right provider. Okay, so next we're going to go up to the note, which is going to be almost an exact, in fact, it probably is going to be an exact mirror copy of what you entered into the into this block in the online portion, 25-year-old whatever, 25-year-old active duty male reports AMCC for annual PHA. Patient is what? You get it. No further medical concerns or what have you. This is where you can say, hey, this patient needs this or the whatever. Put it in here. It'll populate. One thing is there's a save button at the top. It's not in here because I clipped it out, but if you save it, this box will clear. You can be like, hey, what happened to that? As soon as you hit the save, this thing disappears and it's automatically put in the TCON. You're going to have to just assume it's there from then on, okay? It won't show it in here if you hit save. And then lastly, you're going to fill this search under diagnosis, the search tab here, or search indicator. I wrote in periodic health assessment, all full letter words, periodic health assessment. That's going to populate these two. You'll notice where this is blank here, it's just user favorites, clinic favorites. Don't bother, those aren't what you need. But as soon as you put this in here and press enter, it's going to populate these two underneath it. And these are the two that you need to double click. So you're going to double click assessment, occupational service member, PHA documented on through. You can read, double click the bottom one as well. Encounter for, it's just the Z02.A9. And as soon as you double click one, you're going to see it populate here. You double click the other one and it's going to pop into two here, and you can see it is successfully populated using this process. All right, next you're going to save and then you're going to close, and that's it. You've completed the TCON, which all you have to do now is wrap up the patient part, because he's most likely still waiting in the room, waiting on you. So step 5 is the MRRS entry and TB asbestos screeners endorsed by the provider. So before the patient can go, just make sure that you send him off on MRRS. You go for annual PHA in exams tab here highlighted. You're going to hit the calendar and update the PHA exam date to the today, I guess. And if patient addresses a health concern that he or she would like to be seen for, and you need to present that, I would present it to the sick call supervisor so that he can filter it to the provider and make that happen, and give you follow-on instruction as far as what's available for appointments, when can he get seen for that, yada yada yada. All right, let's talk about the TB form. The TB form goes with every PHA. It's to be done annually, and typically it's to be conjoined with the PHA. So both annual PHA and annual TB form, or the NAVMed 6224/8. Here you're going to have patient fill out boxes 1 through 4 alpha. Yes, no, don't know, countries that he visited since last PHA. Just answer him best he can, 1 through 4 alpha, help him out if he needs. And then under 4 screener, once he's done that, you go to the 4 screener part and you read whether questions 1 through 4 reviewed, all responses are negative, yes, no, or there's at least one positive answer, yes, no. That's your job, fill in those 2 boxes there. Then you're going to get this signed off by the provider and file it into section 2 of the health record. With this in the asbestos screener, your your provider might be bogged down by a lot of these, or might be a busy person, as they most likely are. In this case, you can let the patient go at this point as long as they've filled out the TB form and the asbestos form. Just make sure everything's complete on it, as well as they filled out the PII blocks on both these sections here. And then you're going to just put them in a pile for your provider to sign off all at once, maybe at the end of the day or periodically as she gets some free time to do that. If you do put them in the health record and you put the health record in the box for the provider to sign, the provider is probably going to get annoyed because he just has a health record laying in his to sign box, and he has no idea what he's looking for to sign. So what you're going to want to do is like fold this paper up so that the TB form and the asbestos form end up sticking out, so the provider has a clearer indicator of what papers he needs to sign. At the end of the day, or once he's signed them all, she has signed them all, make sure that you file those records. He's signed them all, she has signed them all, make sure that you file those records back, ensuring that no part of the medical record part is compromised. All right, so the asbestos, we'll go over this lastly. It's real quick. Asbestos screener. This is done in the opening of a brand new health record, or if a patient has been exposed to asbestos since filling out the latest screener. Typically, most people aren't going to be exposed to asbestos, at least that they know of. But if for some reason the provider says, yes, these patients who went on this or were a part of this, it is confirmed that they have been exposed to asbestos, make sure you get a new one of these in. Otherwise, if they haven't, you're good with the original in there. So patient is going to fill out the PII boxes once again and questions 1 through 5, as well as sign, date, and print their name. Notice that there's 2 patient signature indicate. They only need to do one of these. Honestly, I don't know why there's 2. I'm sure there's a logical reason. I don't know it, but sign, date, put in the record, and then get the provider to sign at their leisure. Once that is done, the ePHA is complete. Congratulations, you're an all-star.